Visiting Tom's garden is a little bit like visiting the Orient itself. Symbols of Japanese culture are evident in the tea house, the bamboo trees, and the traditional fountain. Japan is the motherland of koi. It all started in a rice paddy several hundred years ago when a multicolored carp mysteriously appeared. Since then, Japan has enjoyed a billion-dollar breeding and exporting business. This authentic Asian environment has taken Tom many years to complete.
We put in a hole in the ground, bought the liner, and were ready to proceed with the project, and learned about this koi event down at Lily Ponds in Maryland. So we went down there and met the people from the Mid-Atlantic Koi Club, and lo and behold, we found out how totally ignorant we were. And we were about to fall off the cliff. If we had gone on and not joined the club, gone to see all the ponds that they'd let us into, and learned about keeping koi, we'd have made the fatal mistake that so many people do. So that's where this thing started. This pond, the first pond, is 4,000 gallons, and I followed my mentor, Lester Burko, who lived about 45 minutes north of me here. His first pond was 18 inches deep, and I thought, well, that's what you're supposed to do. Of course, he and I both have learned since then that that's probably not the best idea, but he had great big fish, and I thought, well, if he's doing it, that's what I'm supposed to do. But I learned that the amount of water is almost irrelevant. It's the fish load and the amount of filtration to take care of the ammonium nitrite. So if you had a 20,000 gallon or an 8,000 gallon pond, there's not much difference. It's how much load, how many fish, how much are you feeding, and can the surface area, that's everything underwater, anywhere, that's in your filter and on the streams and on the rocks and the sides, good guy bacteria are there to take care of ammonium nitrite. But if you don't have enough surface area, then you've got to reduce the number of fish or add more filtration.
These stones were selected and placed by Tom to replicate the sound of a gently flowing stream. The custom-made tea house overlooking the pond also brings a bit of Japan to Tom's New Jersey backyard. He loves to visit the magnificent gardens in Japan and has made many trips over the years. We are viewing two ponds which appear to be connected, but they are not. The two separate filtration systems accommodate 23 fish in each pond. This chagoy and hiatsiri appear to be enjoying each other's company.
It's been mentioned that I have a lot of water flowing, and that's obviously on purpose too. We're all fascinated by water for some reason. Everybody, no matter where you're from, seem to be fascinated by water. And I don't really like to hear a lot of rushing water. I don't want to hear a Niagara Falls for very long. So I actually tuned this to my ear by placing stones, and I can control the flow of water just by a vol valve on the output side of a pump. So I did all of this on purpose. I want the sound of water, I want the motion of water, but I don't want the crash of falls and too much noise. That becomes irritating after just a very short time. So that's the reason it's built in this manner. I have a little waterfall over here that when I'm sitting on that deck is just tinkling, and that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
The bright yellow Yamabuki is the largest and oldest koi at 32 inches and 16 years of age. He was originally purchased for $50. At that time, he was 6 inches long. He disproves the notion that you cannot grow large fish in a shallow pond. Remember, this pond is only 18 inches deep.
When koi start jumping around, or flashing as we call it, or scraping against things or the bottom or the sides of the pond, that's a pretty good sign they're irritated, for one, and chances are the irritation is a parasite. And the only way to know for sure is to catch a fish, scrape some mucus, and look at it under a microscope. So any serious koi hobbyist, one of the tools that has to be in the toolbox is a microscope, and it doesn't have to be an expensive microscope. If a fish is found on the bottom and he looks very unhappy and he's got all his fins clamped, he's probably got a parasite and he's being severely irritated. Think of a dog that's got fleas. Now a dog can scratch a flea. A koi can't scratch other than to flash, to scrape on something. So after a while, he is just so irritated that he goes to the bottom and sits there in pain. The essential part is to stay absolutely focused on the target fish, and you must have a proper net, and it must be big enough. A 32-inch net is almost essential to catch fish successfully. Get the target fish in a corner where you're going to try to get under him and get him in the net. If you'll just raise the net with the fish in sight towards the side of the pond instead of trying to get under and lift it out, now you've got him in water in the net. You never lift a fish out of the water in the net, because they almost invariably will hook up a fin and rip it. So then you take what we call a sock net, which looks like a stocking, about 8 or 10 inches in diameter, and you scoop that fish out in this sock net and put him into a pan. Or you can tip him out right into a bowl.